Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Reselling Rhythms. If you're new to my channel, my name is Adam, and my channel's name is Adam's Exploits. On my channel, we discuss reselling. It's basically for beginning to intermediate resellers. What I try to do is every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I schedule another reseller and have them come on and share their experiences and their expertise. Everybody does things differently. Everybody has different skill sets, different strategies. So again, if that's something you're interested, please consider subscribing. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to say hello to a few people in the chat. So when the notifications go out, they should be going out right now. So we'll be filling up shortly. So what I'm going to today, we're going to speak about reselling. We're going to talk about Amazon, and we're going to talk about book selling. My guest is Maggie Doodle. So you guys have probably seen her in the various chats. She's technically one of my neighbors, lives in the Delaware Valley like me. So we'll get started very shortly, and we'll discuss book selling. Maggie, introduce herself, tell us a little bit about herself, and then we'll roll into the book selling. And then if we have time, we'll talk about some of the other things that she sells as well. So again, as usual, it'll be open to questions, guys. If you have any questions about reselling, any questions about book selling, Maggie has been very generous to share her time and talk about book selling. So I'm just going to say hello to a few people, and then we'll roll right into Maggie. So I know originally Alexis was here, and Jennifer's here, Joanna, Glenn. Thank you all for joining us. Miss Lost Treasure 73. Thank you for joining us. Rosie, Crystal, Simply Dana. Thanks, Dana, for joining us. My number one moderator is in the house, Miss Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. Jameson's Closet, and Jennifer. And if I missed anybody, I apologize. So again, we're going to get started. We're going to talk about originally just talk about reselling books, how to get started, how Maggie does things with books, doing things with whether she does it through Fulfilled by Amazon, whether she does it Fulfilled by Merchants, where she ships that herself. So we're going to talk to her about that. I'm going to have her introduce herself, and then we'll right into that. So we'll get started here. Let me get Miss Maggie up here. And we'll do this screen. So we'll share screens. And you should be good to go, Maggie. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for asking me to come on, Adam.
Thank you. Appreciate you joining us.
Hey, everybody in the chat. Oh, Jameson and Jennifer and Glenn, who I'm going to do a racing with.
You got to race with Glenn?
My racing buddy.
Okay.
So how's everybody? So you want me to just tell you a little bit about myself?
Absolutely. Just tell us, where you're from originally, a little about your family if you can, and your background, and how you got involved in reselling.
Awesome. So I live, as Adam said, I live, in the same area as he is. I live right outside of Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I was born and raised in Philadelphia. And now it's my husband and I and our 3 cats here. And my husband, Michael, thank you, Dana, my purple hair. So my husband and I do the business together. As a matter of fact, he just came back with about 10 bags full of books that are now sitting in my living room.
10 bags?
For me to, made for me to process. So the way I get into reselling was I am a book lover. And I, many years ago, before Yahoo groups and things like that, there was a thing called listserv. I don't know if you remember, where you could join a listserv and get email from people in groups about various subjects that were of interest to you. So I joined a listserv about a favorite author of mine, the author of Anne of Green Gables, L.M. Montgomery. And in the process of that, somebody mentioned that a first edition of Anne of Green Gables was for sale on the site eBay. That's the first I had ever heard of the site eBay.
Okay. Very back in the beginning of eBay.
What's that?
Very back in the beginning when they probably had to send checks and money orders. And
Yep, absolutely. Right. Back in the 90s. Right. So I went on to see this book, which ended up selling for, I believe, $10,000 on eBay, and then discovered all these books that were for sale on eBay. And at that time, I could go on and I could see all the books that were listed under the books category. And in about 3 or 4 days later, I could go through and peruse and see every single book that was listed since the last time I had been on there. So that's how few books were really listed on there.
Right.
I discovered that there was a book on there that I knew my husband had sitting in a box in our basement because he was a member of the science fiction book club. And I'm like, wait a minute, this book is selling for 20 some. Back then, everything was auctioned. So the bidding was up to like 20 some dollars. And I thought, wait, this book is sitting in our basement right now. And that is how I got started. I pulled up those boxes of science fiction book clubs from the basement and started listing them on eBay. And it went on from there. So yeah, that's how
That was in the early 90s?
I started on eBay in 1997.
Okay, the end of the 90s. Okay.
The end of the 90s. I think eBay got started in 94, maybe.
Okay.
So yeah.
The only thing I remember is that they said that was a trivia question. A lot of channels ask, what was the first item ever auctioned off on eBay? And it was a broken laser pointer. So that I do know.
Yeah. I didn't know that.
That I remember.
I knew the owner started right. He wanted to sell off his Pierre Omidyar, or whatever his name was, had his Pez dispenser collection.
Okay.
I think that's why he started it, to sell off his Pez dispenser collection. Anyway, hey, Texas Tigress Designs and Michelle and Buying Space. I think I know who you are, but under a different name, Buying Space.
And people keep changing their names. It's like, I'll say hello. It's like, who is this? And it's like, oh, I'm so-and-so. I said, well, I didn't get to notice that you changed your screen name.
I think that's Myra.
Is that Myra? Okay.
I believe so.
Okay.
So anyway, yeah, that's how I got started. And the rest is, and then eventually when Amazon opened up to Amazon started with, I believe they started with auctions, Amazon auctions.
That I'm not sure of.
I remember I sold on Amazon auctions, and then I eventually went into the third-party marketplace. So I've been doing that probably since they began.
Okay.
Yeah. And just because I love books, I just love books.
So originally you started out selling books.
Mm-hmm.
And again, we'll get in this later in the discussion, but you say you also sell clothing now as well.
I do. So 5 years ago, I had weight loss surgery. I lost 110 pounds.
Wow.
And on the way down the scale, I didn't want to go buy new clothing. So I thought, oh, well, let me hit the thrift shops for clothing. And I was like, oh my God, all the stuff you could get and all the stuff. Yeah. And that's how I got started selling clothing, realizing I started selling off my own clothing that I wasn't fitting me anymore.
Right.
Started finding the stuff that I was finding in the thrift shops.
And they said plus sizes sell very well, they say, with clothing.
Yeah, I did pretty well with them.
Because I know Beth's in the chat. She says she does very well with plus size women's clothing.
Yeah, I do too. I have 2 Poshmark stores, and one is all plus size.
Plus sizes. Okay.
Completely plus size closet. I love to sell the plus size clothes. Hey,
right.
Valerie.
Valerie joined us. Okay. You lost 110 pounds too, Wes? Oh, geez.
Oh, awesome.
I was just discussing with Maggie, pre-show, a lot of digestive issues. I share some of my information with you guys, personal stuff, and what I supposedly have is supposed to attribute to weight loss, and I'm gaining weight because I'm not digesting the food properly. But that's beside the point. But I need to lose weight. Let's roll into the book selling, and then, like I said, we can open it up to questions after we get through the little presentation. Now we were talking prior to the show about the various softwares that we use. Now, when you first started doing, again, when you got into Amazon, were you doing fulfilled by merchant? Were you doing fulfilled by Amazon? How did you start out with Amazon?
I started out fulfilled by merchant. I had a fear of FBA, which a lot of people have.
A lot of people do. Mm-hmm.
Fear, yeah, and I did too. I had that fear of just the whole process of shipping my books in, and so it was a few years before I ventured into that. But I did, So at first there was so when I first started, I just looked books up on eBay, and I kind of specialized in older children's books and vintage books and that kind of thing. And then I can't see that chat anymore. Am I still?
Okay. You're fine.
Okay. And then when I started on Amazon is when I started using I've used a program, and I can't remember the name of it now, so many years ago, where I just typed in the ISBN number. So every time I was in the bookstore, typing in the ISBN number, before the scanners or anything.
Right.
And then eventually I connected with eventually I connected with a company that did, I want to say Scout Pal.
Okay.
The advantage of it, and this is huge, I believe, for anybody who's out scanning for books. You want a program that allows you to download the database to your phone.
Exactly. I wanted to get into that with you, so I want you to speak about that.
People who do it just occasionally, the Amazon app itself is good to go in and scan, but it's live. So if I'm in the back of a bookstore, if I'm in a library book sale and there's no service, I'm dead in the water. So it's essential to have a program that will allow you to download that database to your phone, so you're not having to be connected to the internet to scan.
Well, that was one of the questions I was going to roll into about sourcing in the various places you source. But that is a great option. Again, I used to know back in the day, like I said, I've been involved about three years plus learning about reselling and doing it for 2.5+ years. And a lot of certain resellers would have like multiple phone service, like they would have Verizon, they would have Sprint, they would have, Metro PCS. Like, seriously? But I guess back then you couldn't download the database. So they would be doing retail arbitrage or scanning books.
Right.
And if they didn't have service on the one phone, they were out of luck. So they would have multiple different, cell carriers.
Yeah.
So that's a plus. So you said you're using Scoutly, correct?
I use Scoutly, which is by a company called FBA Scan.
Yeah, because again, this is just from my neophyte, my experience, and I just like trying to do scan retail arbitrage items. I always have problems trying to scan things with my iPhone. It's like there's got to be a better way. So again, from belonging to these various reselling groups, I told you I joined this large Amazon group. They talk about the various apps, and you can set parameters on those apps, so it'll tell you whether it's a buy or not. And then again, I wanted to get into that a little bit later with you, the Bluetooth scanners, if you have gotten involved in that. So once you discuss that about the various things, what you said, to download the database prior to going into your location. So if you don't have self-service,
right,
you can still research things, right?
So Beth is asking, how much is Scoutly? Scoutly costs $50 a month for my husband and I to both use on our separate phones. We download the database, once a week usually. And we each have a barcode scanner, KDC. We each use a KDC 200.
Okay. So what's it called again?
It's a KDC 200.
200.
Quamtech is the maker, KOAMTEC.
Okay.
Little scanner that, barcode.
Now, does that do sound plus vibrate?
It does. I don't use sound. And here's an example, 2 ways you can go about it. My husband, we set his triggers precisely. Anything that's over this amount, anything that's over this rank, over anything.
Why don't you, again, for the neophytes, why don't you get into triggers and just get a little more detail? Because again, I'm pretty much 90% not familiar with this, and there are probably other people that aren't either. Let's
start for Amazon FBA,
which is fulfilled by Amazon, where you ship it into Amazon and they fulfill the order. They handle the shipping and the customer service, the whole 9 yards.
There's 2 ways of doing it. Right. So you can do Amazon FBA, or you could do your Amazon fulfilled by merchant. And that's, you keep the books, you ship them in. So you keep the books and you ship them individually.
Right. Like you would with eBay, you ship the product in yourself to the customer.
Right. So the advantage of FBA is that you find the books, you ship them to Amazon, and you forget about them. Well, you don't forget about them, but you don't have to ship them. If you're away, if you're on vacation, whatever, your books are always for sale. Exactly. They're always churning, they're always selling, they're always being processed in the background. And that's awesome.
Right. You could be on vacation and things sell. You don't have to worry about rushing home to ship it.
Exactly. So fulfilled by merchant, you hold the books, you have to store them. As they sell, you have to ship them individually. Now, the advantage of The big difference is the fees on FBA are much higher, and that's what scares people off a little bit, a lot, I
Right.
think. The fees are high. They're just high. I estimate when I look at my screen and it says you have this many sales today, I always figure that my actual take is going to be 50%. I figure 50% fees on FBA.
Is that how high they are?
That's I figure across the board, because if I sell a lower price book, the fee can be actually much higher.
Oh, really?
If I sell a higher,
So it's like a sliding scale.
right? There's 3 different fees
Okay.
for FBA. You have a referral fee, which is 15% on books and media, 15% right off the top. Then they have a fulfillment fee, which is based on the weight and size.
That's
And
kind of like a shipping
variable.
fee in a roundabout way.
What's that?
That's kind of like a shipping fee in a roundabout way.
Basically, it's their cost to ship it out.
Mhm.
And then there's a closing fee, which is $1.80 per item.
Okay.
So
Now,
if
you
have
have the professional accounts. You pay the $40 per month subscription.
I have a professional account.
Right.
Right. If you do not have a professional account, then on top of those 3 fees, you would pay a 99-cent per item.
Per item. Right.
Other fee. Right.
Right.
So those are the 3 fees that you pay with FBA. The biggest chunk being that fulfillment fee. So if you have a fat book, that fulfillment fee is higher.
Gotcha.
But so you can imagine if you have a book that's only selling for say $15, but by the time you take the $1.80, then the 15%, then the fulfillment fee, yeah, that's a big chunk.
Yeah, it's like you said, almost half.
So
And of course, you got to pay the government. You got to pay taxes.
Right.
when you're
Right.
gross profit.
Then with merchant fulfilled, you still have the referral fee of 15%. You still have the $1.80 closing fee. You do not
Right.
have that variable fulfillment fee, and the fulfillment fee also includes storage too. I mean,
I'm sorry, I was typing in the chat. You said something. You don't have the variable fee when
you sell merchant fulfilled,
oh, okay.
you have the
Right,
referral.
because you're paying for shipping.
You have the referral fee and the closing fee.
Gotcha.
You don't have the fulfillment fee.
Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly. Then for FBA, you have storage fees on top of all that.
Sure.
You have monthly storage fees. So that is what can be scary is those fees. Yeah. But you can also get higher prices for your books on FBA. So because you take into account people who are looking, some people will go in, they'll look for a book and they'll hit Prime only, and they won't even bother looking at the merchant fulfilled.
Oh, really? I didn't even know they could do that.
Right. So for instance, I was just jotted a few down. I sold a book the other day called Rustic Italian Food. There was the merchant fulfilled was $9.52. And I sold my copy for $23.99.
Wow. More than double.
There was a PlayStation 2 game that I sold that the lowest price was $7.42, but I sold mine for $28.99. So you can price your books higher on FBA.
So you ship in video games as well.
I do. Video games, DVDs, CDs, and books. Books and
okay, so you're not gated on DVDs and CDs. A lot of people, my understanding, are gated on.
I am gated. But the gating, people think, oh, gating is you're on DVDs, you are gated above a certain MSRP, manufacturer.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah. So if a book or if a DVD does not have that MSRP, you might be. So it's always worth it to look and see if you can list it. It's always worth it to check it out, because you're not gated in DVDs does not mean gated in all DVDs. Okay. CDs, the gating is in popular music.
Okay.
So there's various things that they might not consider to be popular music. So yeah, it's always worth checking to see each individual item, whether you can sell.
Very interesting. Again, I tell you, I know 90% I don't know about Amazon. So I wasn't aware of that. So that's great information.
Yeah. Just because
I just figured if you're gated, you're gated, you're gated. I didn't know.
No, not necessarily.
Thank you for sharing that. It's great information.
Yeah. So I always advise people, just give it a go. It's not that scary. And especially people who are here, who, all my all my reselling
Or your peeps?
friends, on my peeps. Yeah, like I don't do YouTube, but
Right.
I'm like a chat rat, I'm in all
Right.
the
Right.
chats, and I've made friends in the chats, and I feel
Sure.
like I've learned so much from everybody. So I tell everybody, if you know me and you want to jump into FBA, message me, friend me on Facebook and message me. I'm always happy to sit down and go through it with you and help you get it going. I'm always happy to do that.
It's funny you said that. Again, I was doing prep work for the show and I was watching some videos, and I speak about it quite a bit on my show because I was in outside sales, and I was unemployed for a while. I was looking for work, so it's all about networking. And one of these videos, the guy was kind of crude the way he presented it, but basically he said a lot of it is about networking. Make friends with other resellers. Donatella occasionally is in my chat, and Donatella has the auctions. So maybe Donatella doesn't want to sell books. So maybe she has a deal where she'll ship you out your books. She doesn't want to make a deal. I'll buy all your books from you, or whatever. Or you have another reseller that only sells clothing. They don't want to get involved with books. Make relations with the retail stores, thrift stores. Make friends with the managers. Maybe you walk into a store and say, Maggie, we just got a ton of books, and you want to, look through. And I know stories about other resellers that have friends with managers, and they literally let them go in the back room. So they'll go in the back room, they'll start scanning things before it even hits the shelf.
Yeah.
So again, it's about relationships, guys. I mean, I know some people are bashful and they're hesitant to talk to people, but it can be very beneficial to you.
Yeah. Yeah. Like Bridget says, she was scared to try. And I kept saying to her, come on, Bridget, you could do it. And she's got a whole, Amazon business going now.
Oh, really? Good for her. So Bridget is Lost Treasures? Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us, Bridget. It's nice to meet you.
Yeah. And I'm always happy to help anybody walk through it. And
okay. So I had some notes about sourcing. Now, obviously, we discussed thrifting. You can source at yard sales and garage sales. And you mentioned on our pre-chat, you source from libraries as well.
Yeah.
Is there some kind of, you go through Craigslist, or is there some kind of, I know with the auctions for the like storage auctions, there's various websites. Are there websites that you can search for library sales, or do you just have to follow Craigslist and that kind of thing?
There is a website called booksalefinder.com.
Okay.
And you use booksalefinder.com, and I know Jenny says I need to check out the bins for books. I've never been to the bins.
Really?
Yes.
Well, I guess there's one in was it Newcastle, and there's one up here by me.
And there's one in Belmar, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's one I think in Newcastle, Delaware.
I've heard some scary things about the bins.
Yeah, well, I got problems with the regular Goodwill, yelling them the bins. I've had problems with both places.
Now I will say,
I'm a big guy. I'm scary. I've had people take my cart, take things out of my cart, steal my cart. I have all kind of issues. It's like
I have had problems. I've had people push me, shove me, and knock me down at library book sales. I will admit that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't surprise me.
But yeah, go to Book Sale Finder. You can plug in your address. They'll show you on a map where the book sales are from. But what I would do too is I would go to local libraries and see if they have Facebook pages or their event calendars. And at the beginning of the month, just make yourself a list of them. I have in my bookmarks, I just have a whole bookmark folder full of library bookmarks, and I just go through at the beginning of the month and see, because a lot of them don't advertise, and honestly I'd rather go to the ones that don't advertise. I'd rather find the ones that there's not a lot of skinners.
Let me ask you again, because I tell you, I'm basically a neophyte to all this. So if you buy something from a library, it's going to have the old where you put your, I don't know if they even still do that. I haven't been to a library in so long.
Your card
in there. And they have a little pocket. How do you handle that? I mean, I guess if you try to remove that, it's going to tear the page, right? Or you just leave it in there and
you just disclose. And honestly, book libraries get donations ahead of a library book sale. So most of the books at a library book sale are not library discards.
Oh, they're not? Okay.
No.
I wasn't aware of that.
But if you have a library discard. I just disclose it. One trick I have that I love is I use my iMac has a what do they call it? Text expander program where you type in a few letters and it'll do a repetitive phrases.
Okay.
So, for instance, I type in VGHC if I have a hardcover that's in very good condition, and it types out for me. I type VGHC and it says unmarked hardcover with dust jacket,
Wow.
showing light edgeware, blah blah. So my phrases
Really?
that I like to use. So
do you use? I'm assuming you're using. Okay, that's for Amazon, though, right?
it is, but there's also a program called Phrase Express, and there's another program called ATEX. There's lots of free programs out there.
I was just thinking, like with eBay, we use templates. We set things up with templates.
This is just repetitive phrases. So
okay,
for a library discard, I just type in LBD.
Library discard. Okay.
I know it says library discard with the usual labels and markings. That's what I.
Okay.
That's what I put in.
So basically, you just leave the packet or whatever you want to call it, the pocket in there, and you just disclose it.
And I guess
sometimes don't they put it like on the pages, like on the side, they have like a stamp. They like Collingswood Library or Cherhill Library or whatever.
Yeah, but if the book's of value,
right, and it doesn't have a lot of wear, and it just has
right, and I put those in acceptable condition. I've seen somebody mark.
And that's why you grade acceptable. Okay.
Good or very good. I always grade a library discard as acceptable.
Well, that's the other thing, and again, I'm relatively consistent. I say, under promise and over deliver. So, like you said, you'd rather grade it a little bit lower than what it is, and then the buyer is surprised it's in better condition. You don't want to get it to go the other way. So if you say something's good, and it's in fair condition,
Yeah, I know. I once had a feedback from a buyer who said, "I was disappointed. The book was as described, but other people said other comments, like he had seen other comments that said books better than described. So even though the book he got was as described,
he wanted it better than it was."
Yeah. So another thing I should mention, I made some notes, so I want to cover everything that I think would be important to mention is rank. People ask about rank all the time. So a ranking on every book on Amazon has a rank, and the rank tells you the lower the rank, the faster it's going to sell. So if you've got a book in the ranking of under 50,000, it's going to sell faster than a book that has a ranking of 2 million. I will only send books into FBA that are under 1 million in rank.
Under 1 million in rank.
Because you don't want them sitting around incurring the storage fees. Anything over 1 million, I will then do merchant fulfill. And then every month, not even every month, every time I send a box in, after I've got a box of everything I've got on hand to send in, I go through my inventory listing to see all my merchant fulfilled, to see what the current rank is, because there's been times when a book I bought was over 1 million rank, but now a month later it's at a lower rank, so I can jack up.
Okay, so you periodically inventory what you have. I guess you have a spreadsheet.
I just look at it on Amazon's.
Okay.
View my inventory on Amazon, and I see. And if it's under 1 million, I'll jack up the price.
I see what you say. So if it's merchant fulfilled, you're still on Amazon, so you just check it.
Right. I just check the rank.
Okay.
Yeah. So another thing you have to think about is the storage fees.
And they fluctuate as well, right? They're more around the holidays, around the
The storage fees are 69 cents per cubic foot from January to September. Then they jump to $2.40 per cubic foot October to December. So they're higher if they're there in the fourth quarter. And then on the 15th of each month, anything that's been in their warehouse over 365 days incurs an extra long-term storage fee of $66.90 per cubic foot.
Could you repeat that again?
$6.90 per cubic.
If it's been there for a year or more.
If it's been there over 365 days.
Wow.
So at the beginning of every month, say a week or so before that, I just pop in if I have anything. Like in January, I had 2 books that were over there. If the book has a high enough price, I'll leave it sit. But these 2, I had 2 this month that I just had them dispose of for
Now,
me.
from having various guests on, I learned. I mean, I always thought they just, if you told them, I don't want it, dispose of it, that they would just dispose of it. My understanding is they do donate. Say you have books, and you say, I don't want it, just destroy it. They typically won't destroy it. They'll donate it to some kind of charity or something. So if you say, I don't want to keep that in storage, I don't want to pay a storage fee. There's like a flat fee per item, right? And then they'll dispose of it for you.
You can have them send it back to you, or you can have them dispose of it.
Right. And when they when I say dispose of, and I always thought they meant dispose, but I guess my understanding is sometimes they'll donate it to charities and things.
Yeah.
So you're having to ship back and you're storing it. But I guess if it's worth it, I mean, you can recall it and sell it as FBM, right?
Oh, if it's worth it, you could.
Right.
You could. Yeah.
Now, how much? Again, I don't know how much. I have no idea. But say it's a big cookbook or something. Could they charge you a couple of dollars to ship it back?
No, there's a flat fee. So
Okay.
the dispose is 15 cents per item.
Okay.
The ship back to you is 50 cents per item.
Okay, so it might be worth it then if it's okay.
Yeah. It's not like you're paying.
Okay, I thought it might be like I realize they're shipping it out media mail, but still I didn't know if it was a couple dollars.
The actual dispose
50 cents isn't bad. Okay.
I don't think are unreasonable at all.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So I maintain like a mean lean inventory. I have
lean inventory. Yeah. There you go.
I have right now a little over 200 books on FBA. I send in about 100 to 150 a month. And then I have about a 75% sell-through rate of my Amazon FBA. About 75% of what I send in sells within the first month or so. Hey, Mike. And then I just make sure to do a cleanup of anything that's been there over a year.
Okay.
And I try to do a cleanup before fourth quarter. It's just stuff because, the race to the bottom on Amazon is and that's another part of it. I always say that all these venues have, need care and feeding. I always say your care and feeding of your Poshmark closet or care and feeding of your Amazon account. Repricing. I do repricing every single day.
And you said you used to have a software, but you do it manually now.
I do it manually.
I said it was pretty pricey to have the software.
Yeah, I had a program that was not expensive. It was $9.95 a month, but
okay.
I just couldn't get it to do what I wanted it to do because I don't join the race to the bottom.
Right.
Right. I have 100% feedback rating. I price based on my feedback. If somebody's got a lower feedback, I'm pricing higher than them. If mine is in a better condition, I'm pricing my very good book higher than anybody else's good or acceptable book.
Right.
And I take photos of every item. So my item is going to show up on the page with a photo to catch the buyer's eye. So I'm going to price a little bit higher for that. And so I couldn't ever get a repricer to take all those things into consideration.
Right. Okay.
So for me, I would rather maintain a smaller inventory that I can manually reprice.
That makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, we talked again. I was going to bring that up later, but you said you have some notes. I want to make sure you discuss all your notes before I go off on a tangent.
Let me say, what was I going to say? What was I going to talk about? The pricing strategies I was going to mention, and just the pros and cons of, one pro being, that books are everywhere and they're often cheap.
Sure.
And that can be a con.
And you can start, again, they say with eBay, start out what you have around your house. Get rid of your old clothing, get rid of your old book. So you could probably start out, like you said, merchant fulfilled maybe. If you want to learn the ropes to Amazon and sell the books you have around your house.
Yeah, see what you have on your own bookshelves. The fact that books are everywhere is also a con because there's just books everywhere. You walk into a Goodwill and you've got these whole back wall of books. So I have a strategy of
books.
Yeah, you have to have a strategy of,
Sure.
you could drive yourself crazy by scanning every little book. So you just have to learn what, as you scan the shelf, what you're going to pull to look
Okay,
at.
so once you get into that a little bit, I mean, do you look for cookbooks and textbooks? And I guess fiction doesn't typically sell well. Is it my understanding? Is that correct?
No, fiction doesn't generally. Every once in a while, you'll find something current or new that's just newly out that you'll sell. So when I walk into a bookstore or a library sale, the first section I go to is religion.
Oh, really? Okay.
I
Well, I hear
always,
Bibles sell well.
what's that?
I hear Bibles sell very well.
Yeah, Bibles and just books on religion.
Okay.
My mantra is kind of, the less it's about, the more it's worth. The more specific the subject, the more general the subject, the less it's likely to be worth.
Could
And
you repeat that again?
the less it's about, the more it's worth.
Meaning
So the more,
what?
oh, sorry, thanks. The more specific the subject, the more likely it is to be worth something. So religion is the first place I go.
Okay.
And then I have good luck with biography. And biography I find easy because it's just easy to look and see if it's a person I've never heard of before. That's the thing I'm going to scan or look at.
Right.
It's easy to just scan the biography section and see, wait, I never heard of this person. Let me take a look at this. Some obscure person on your subject.
Okay.
Our business. If I have time, I might go to self-help. Self-help can be pretty,
I know you're not seeing the chat, so every once in a while my chat has a good one. Gina says, "Was that a Bob Marley ringtone?"
No, it wasn't.
Thanks, Gina. We all need to laugh every once in a while. I say sometimes laughter is the best medicine. Thanks, Gina.
I need a good Bob Marley ringtone.
Yeah, exactly. Three little birds on my doorstep. Right? My favorite Bob Marley song. Woke up this morning, three little birds on my doorstep. Okay, additional notes. Do we make sure we didn't miss anything?
I think that's all I had. I talked about. Let me see. I wrote down the care and feeding. Send in those boxes. Send in something weekly. I think it's so important to keep feeding the beast.
I tell people all the time, I'm my own worst enemy with eBay, and again now with these good till cancel listings, it's very easy for your listings to get stale.
Yeah.
So I got to get in the habit of listing every day, even just a few items, and then ending those listings, before the end of the day, and then relisting as self-similar. So I get in constant activity as opposed to just letting it sit there for 90 days, 120, 180 days. It's ridiculous. It kills you in the search rankings.
Yeah.
I don't know how it works with Amazon, how that works with them. It's basically the buy box, right, with Amazon?
I don't even worry about the buy box. I know people who live and die by the buy box.
Right.
I couldn't even tell you if any of my books right now have the buy box.
Okay.
I just don't even worry about
you take
that.
good pictures and you try to price them competitively, and right.
Yeah, I try to price competitively. I find that when I send in a box, as soon as it hits, things that were not in that box start selling. So I try to send in a box a week, and then once it hits, other stuff starts selling, and then by the end of the week, the stuff I just sent in kind of starts selling. So it just Jenny asked, how many books did you say you had to have to get consistent sales? I don't know that you have to have I don't think it's as much what you have to have. Like people say, unless you have this many sitting in your account, you're not going to have consistent sales. For me, I think you get the consistent sales by consistently sending in books. So I send in a box.
So it's not necessarily quantity, it's consistency and I guess quality, right?
Yeah, I send in no more than 30 a week. I fill a box. I use a sheet of Avery labels. You have to label each book. So I like to fill out one sheet. 30 books is about 40 pounds or so, which is all that my husband feels like carrying it at any one time.
I don't blame him.
With his bad back. So
40 pounds could be heavy when you got a bad back.
We bring him books. I have these 10 bags of books now. I will fill up. The first thing he did was he put together a box for me. I will now fill that box. I'll label them, bing, bang, boom, and it'll go. And then the next day I'll start.
Okay, Rob, I want to ask you a quick question, and Tat Doctor had a question. When you say label, and again, I'm a neophyte to this. I know you have to print out your individual code, your sticker with your seller ID or whatever. So if they get, put ever in storage or whatever, they know it's your particular item.
Right.
And how does that work? What happens if you don't have a dust cover? Do you put it on the dust cover?
I just put it directly on the book. Unless it's an expensive book, then I will.
Because I guess it's easier to get off the book than it is to get off the dust cover, right?
If it's a book with it,
why does it have a dust cover? Because aren't they going to see the dust cover when they go to pick it?
If it's a book with a dust cover, I just put the label directly on the book, whether it has a dust cover or no. So how it works is I enter in the book. I have a stack of books. I take my pictures. I start entering them into Amazon search to see what I want to price it at. And then I don't really worry about the pricing at that stage, because when my books hit, I immediately go in and reprice. While you and I were talking earlier, I was repricing books that just hit this morning. So, but I price them. I type in my description. I create the listing. And then when I have 30 or so, I then, what happens in Amazon, you list it and you tell it, as you're creating your listing, you tell it whether you want a merchant fulfill or you want a FBA. And if you FBA, it adds it to a shipment. It creates.
Right. My understanding is from following some FBA shippers, it could go to various warehouses. So this might have a box for this warehouse, I have another box for a different warehouse, et cetera, et cetera.
It could happen. It rarely happens.
It rarely does with books? Okay.
It rarely happens to me. So after I have about 30 books or whatever, I'm going to send in, then there's like a flow, there's like a workflow. So then it brings it all up and I enter in the quantity, just one quantity of each. And then I hit confirm. And then it says print labels for these books, and it prints out a sheet of labels. So I just then take each label, match it up with the book. I understand there's a program called Inventory Lab, which is amazing in that it spits out a label as you list the books.
Now, again, and we need to get this question. I won't forget you, Tat Doctor. Inventory Lab is that affiliated with Scale IQ as well, right? I think it's part of Inventory Lab. I think they're kind of connected somehow.
I thought Inventory Lab was connected to not
Scale IQ, something else. Okay. I know they're affiliated with something. What
is that, Bridget? Is Bridget still in the chat? She would know.
Okay. Again, I'm not Amazon. So that's why I'm trying to bring more Amazon sellers. So I'm not an Amazon seller. Yeah. And a lot of my viewers want to learn. I want to learn as well about Amazon. So
the only reason I don't use Inventory Lab, honestly, is because it's not compatible with my label printer.
Oh, okay. Well, that was the other thing. Again, I get on tangents sometimes. There's been discussion of the various reselling groups about label printers. And again, with the label printers, you have to print out your individual sticker on your book.
Right.
And you have to print out a shipping label as well, right? So do you have separate ones? You have one with different labels? How do you do it?
I have a Rollo label printer.
Rollo?
Rollo, yeah.
Rollo or Rollo or whatever.
Rollo.
You say potato, I say potato.
And the Inventory Lab is only compatible with the Dymo. But
okay. Oh, really? Okay, I wasn't aware of that. That's a great tip.
Or at least I couldn't. They say there's a way to get it to work, and I couldn't get it to work. If I could, I would an Inventory Lab is, I believe it's $50 a month.
Okay.
You and I talked about paid apps before that. That is one that I would absolutely pay for.
What are the advantages of Inventory Lab? What
really streamline the entering process.
Okay.
And then as you list a book, it spits out a label. So I would take my label, put it on the book instead of at the end.
Okay, every one. Okay.
I've got this pile.
That would expedite things.
Because I've now got a pile of books that
and they're already labeled.
And then
they just put them in the box. Boom, boom, boom. I got you. Stack and
right.
That makes sense. Okay. It's $50, so you got to do a decent amount of volume, like you said.
I understand it's a great workflow, but yeah, and it has a scaling program it's attached to. So
right.
But I can't really speak on it with any amount of knowledge. I don't know.
So again, we discussed this prior, Doctor, but it's something to bring up again, review. I asked about the various scanning softwares. So you said you're using Scoutly, but you and I had discussed you might switch to Scout IQ.
I've heard good things about Scout IQ, and I've heard that they were created by booksellers, so they've got
Scout IQ was, yes.
Yeah. So I
came
know
up in my interview with Steve Rake, and I forget who we said it was. I know it comes up in the various YouTube videos about Scout IQ, but it was developed by a bookseller for booksellers.
When it first came out, it was very pricey. I didn't go with it, but so Anita's asking how is the proper way to package books for shipping. I just take the book, I put the label on the back. If it's a more expensive book, I polybag it first. DVDs, CDs, and video games, I polybag just because I don't want them to open or. But for books in general, yeah, I just slap a book back on the. If I ship them myself, they're protected, they're bubble wrapped.
So if you're shipping them to Amazon FBA, you just stick them. Use any kind of like craft paper or anything so that they don't shift around in the box.
Oh yeah, my husband does that. He's the packer.
Or the air pillows or whatever.
We use air pillows. We line the box with bubble wrap, and then he puts air pillows and all of that. Okay. But once the Amazon gets them to ship them individually, I don't know.
If I were to ship books merchant fulfilled, I would use a padded envelope. Is what I would do. In
general, we do
right.
Padded envelope,
especially if it's expensive. I mean, I know I see some people ship stuff just in a Mylar bag. It's like,
oh no.
Especially a book with the corners and everything getting damaged.
And expensive books get boxed. We box expensive.
I got
we have book. eBay actually just got. Have you looked at new? eBay had some great new shipping supplies. Completely off topic, but
oh really?
Yeah, if you look at when I went order, they had
another one. I tried just getting my shipping supplies organized, and I've been breaking down boxes, and I'm gonna have to. The weather, well, the weather is like so today, so it was really cold the last few days. So I want to like rearrange my garage a little bit and move stuff in the garage, move stuff in the basement. Which I told you about my health issues. It's kind of hard for me to do, but I have to get things organized because it's crazy. But yeah, if I ship, I just got something. I got a microphone. I tell you guys, I'm trying up my YouTube game. I got a microphone for my camera, and it was shipped in just a Mylar bag, and it wasn't. Well, actually, it was like a padded envelope, but it wasn't like a thick padded envelope, and they didn't wrap it in any kind of bubble wrap or anything, and the box was damaged. Now, granted, it wasn't damaged, but
yeah.
If that was something from Amazon with that big dent in it, you can't sell that as new. It's a damaged box. So this supplier, whatever shipped it out, they didn't ship it properly. I mean, it didn't damage the item, but it was the corner of the box was damaged.
Yeah, I mean, we always protect it. Anything we ship, we protect. Everything I ship gets into a plastic bag, like a poly bag, first off.
Right.
Over the years, I've had several people email me to say, wow, I came home, my book was sitting on the porch in the pouring rain, and I thought, oh my God, this is damaged. And then I was so happy to open up and it was inside a plastic bag. So we always plastic bag them, bubble wrap if it's like a soft cover book, a hardcover book. We always try to protect the corners.
How do you protect the corners?
I mean, we just make sure to bubble wrap it.
Okay.
And sometimes we'll put some stiffener around it to.
Some stiffener, it's like cardboard.
Yeah, it's cardboard. Or we'll cut up cardboard boxes or.
Okay.
Yeah. So, yeah, we've not had any complaints about packing. So.
No, I mean, even when I ship jeans, I show to people I use those Walmart bags, those bread bags. So what I do is again I use the padded flat rate envelope because that's the discounted price. When you're shipping jeans, because it can be over £1. And then I put it in a plastic bag, and then I seal it, and I put my little. I show you guys all the time. It's like my favorite thing. Half a cent or 0.6 of a cent. So I put my little thank you sticker on the bag. Guys, you're missing a boat. Half a cent. Free shipping. Yeah. So I mean, I always put it in a plastic bag because I get stuff I get stuff like Amazon or like for FedEx will ship it. It'll be pouring rain and they'll stick a box right on my step. It's like, and it could be electronics. It's like, what are you guys thinking?
Yeah.
You know, and I have it supposed to text me and stuff. They don't text me. It's like, seriously? Hey, Barry.
Yeah.
Let me just go. Okay, so you covered everything in your notes, right? I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything in my
Yeah.
notes. So we had discussed earlier. Why don't you come back to a little bit about your Bluetooth scanner? Do you have like a USB scanner as well when you're doing inventory? You just scan it and then
I do not.
you do
But
not.
I've thought of that because that takes time too.
That would speed up your process.
It would, because now I go in Amazon, I type in.
I might have been born Wednesday, but I wasn't born this Wednesday. You know, a little bit of knowledge in that noggin up there.
I think we started talking earlier about the Scout, the program, and
Yes.
the triggers and all of that, and I think we kind of got off track from that. But in a scanning program like that, you can set it up for your parameters. So you don't
get into that a little bit. That's a good idea.
You don't want to buy any book for under a certain amount. And then you don't want to buy a book for under, say, a certain rank. And my husband likes to have all that set up for him. So we have it set up that it won't, because he scans it. If it says buy, he buys. If it doesn't, he doesn't. So if he says, it's under $13, it'll say no.
$13 gross profit, or
like a $13 buy price. And then if it's over a certain rank, he won't buy it. Right. Where I don't bother. I look at every scan as I'm scanning.
You look at it, okay. But if you're like a library sale, you got to boom, 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 boom. You got to keep on moving. Like you said, you got knocked over at library sales.
I have, probably because I look at every scan. Right. So if I have a book that's maybe selling for $5 used, but it's got a new price of really high, I'll push the extra button that tells me what it's selling for FBA. And if it's selling, you know what I mean? Like I'll do a little more calculation in my head than he will. So he's more of a boom, boom, boom. And I'm more of an analyzer.
You're more of a numbers guy. He's like, I'm going to make the profit.
Yeah. And he'll go, I'll say, did you scan this book? He'll say, I don't know. I don't look at them. Or I look at the titles and I'm a book lover, so what can I say? But then I might look at a book that's selling for not anything on Amazon, but it's got this specific subject that I'll throw up on eBay.
I'll see eBay as well. Okay.
It'll get me some money for it. So I'm more of a,
Joanna had a question. Can you see that? Or you want me to read it to you?
Oh, from Joanna?
Yes.
You pay
so
the $40 store fee. Yes. So Amazon's professional fee is $39.99 a month. If you don't do that, it'll charge you 99 cents per item. So the general rule is if you're going to sell more than 40 items per month, it's worth it to you to have the professional thing. But it's perfectly fine to just start out. You can send in as much as you want either way. It's just when it sells. If you're the professional, if you don't have the professional $40 a month thing, it'll charge you that 99 cents per item.
Craig, Maggie uses Scoutly, but she's considering switching over to Scout IQ. Again, I did a little research, and Maggie obviously is the expert on this. We're discussing a lot of these things. But Scout IQ is very competitive now. The prices come down. And I think it's a little more bells and whistles. Again, I'm not the expert. I'm just speaking from what I've heard and researched. Is that the case pretty much, Maggie?
That's what I've heard.
The annual was, in fact, let me. I
will tell you, I am perfectly happy with Scoutly. It does everything I wanted to do. It's by FBA Scan. They're very, very responsive with any customer service issues I've had.
Right.
And they're adding new features, all the time. But I have heard fantastic things about Scout IQ and exactly what Craig is saying, the eScore.
Right.
And Scoutly, you're kind of looking at the rank and you're looking at the pricing, and whereas Scout IQ has this proprietary kind of calculation thingy in it internally that comes up with this eScore that I understand is very accurate.
Right. I'm going to share a screen for 1 second here. Can you guys see this?
This
Can
got
you see the screen?
I can see it. There you go. Yeah.
Okay. So again, we had discussed this. This is Scout IQ. So again, my understanding was in the beginning it was a lot more expensive, but if you pay the annual yearly fee, it's $36 per month. So again, that's $432, but again, $36 is very competitive. You save 18%. We had discussed this also, Maggie. You said you have a couple different accounts, you and your husband. They're saying, yes, we discussed the Scout IQ. Yes, additional accounts are $10 per month.
Okay.
Live only plan, or $30 a month for the data plus live sign up.
So Scout IQ then would cost me $74 a month still for the both of us. Where
what are you paying for a Scout? About
50 for
50?
2 of us.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, if I were doing thousands and thousands, like I said, I have a lean inventory. Like some are dealing with thousands of books. Maybe if I would punch up for the extra.
Oh, let me before I forget to show you this, guys. I want to do my research. And again, in my mind, it's such a pain in the rear end to scan with the Amazon Seller app. Let me show you guys something real fast. I have to do my research to make sure it's compatible, but let me show you this, guys, real fast here.
I should show you my what mine looks like.
Yeah, what I'll do, just let me show this real fast, and then you can show what you have.
Let me grab the scanner.
Again, I don't have my YouTube open. Let me just make sure, because since Maggie walked away, I want to make sure it shows, guys. Okay. Make sure this shows. Okay, so it should be coming up shortly. Okay, so you can see this. Okay, good. Again, I was researching back in the day when I wanted to get involved in Amazon, and it was very pricey for these Bluetooth scanners. Again, I want to research to make sure that it's compatible with Scoutly or Scout IQ, but to me, this is very reasonable. $46.98. And again, supposedly there's a 5% coupon. So we're talking another $2 off. So it's basically $45 plus tax. So we're talking like $48-ish with free shipping. And again, this works with Android or iOS, so basically Android or an iPhone, works with a PC and also a Mac computer as well. So again, I'm going to do my research to find out if this is compatible with those various softwares. But again, guys, if you're going to like a library sale or something, it's very competitive. Or you're at the bins, it's very competitive. You're going through these books. So if you have it like set like vibrate or beep, you just scan beep, scan beep, scan beep, and if it doesn't beep, you move on to the next one. Move on to the next one. So it's definitely worth investing in that. So I'm gonna make sure that does work. But for $47, that's pretty reasonable.
Yeah, mine is this KDC. If you could see it.
Yeah, back when I was doing research, they were like refurb ones, and they really came up. And weren't they like $100 some?
Yeah, I bought this for $50.
Wow.
Back a few years ago, my husband. But I went to look because I had to buy a new battery for it recently, and I went to look to see what they were selling for. They were really expensive.
$100 some, right? The refurb one.
I wear it around my neck. Sometimes on my Instagram, people will say, "Oh, nice necklace," and I don't want to say it.
Nice necklace.
But if I scan, I can show you what my program looks like. Oh, unless I don't know what time.
No, we're fine. Again, it's your time, and again, we're learning a lot. I really appreciate you coming on, and you came prepared, and you're giving a lot of great information. Do you mind if I make you for the whole screen? Is that okay?
No, go right ahead.
Okay.
This is a set my husband just brought home from here. So if I scan it in, this is going to show how.
Take off my banner, so I'm not covering you up.
This is like weird. Okay. So see, it's showing that it's selling used for $49.60, but it's selling used FBA for $73. And it's selling new for $50, but the new ones I went on and looked, the new ones are merchant fulfilled. They're not FBA. So I will send this box in to FBA for about, mine's not new, so I'm going to send it in for about $69. And it actually tells you, see this little green box down here?
Yes.
That tells you that there are programs out there called who have you just send them the books and they'll just pay you for them automatically.
Oh, really? Okay.
USA or Powell's. I don't know if you ever heard of Powell's.
So you ship them directly to them as opposed to shipping to FBA.
If I were to ship this to wherever BR is, I don't know what that exactly means.
Oh, that comes up in the app.
It will. Yeah. That's a new feature they just added.
Okay.
This shows you that the new buy box, it just gives you all the information. The buy box right
now. That might be good again. And I mentioned that before, but so say you're a storage locker buyer and you get a bunch of books. So maybe you just scan them and say you don't want to be involved selling them. Just ship them off to this company that handles them, and they pay you up front, right?
Right. If it's selling in that little green box, you could potentially, depending on what you're, and this will even give you so for instance, I think Michael paid $10 for this when he bought it. Or let me put that $10. So it'll tell you if I list it for $69 on FBA. Oh, wait, why is it doing that? Oh, inbound shipping. Well, it cost me about 50 cents to ship it in the box. So that will tell me,
yeah it's reverse. It's mirror image. Yeah, so everybody screwed up on the StreamYard. Still screws me up to this day.
I don't know if you can see.
You go to the right, you're actually like you're going to your left.
Basically, it lists all the fees right there, and it'll tell you. See, it lists all the fees right there, and then it'll tell me at the bottom that my profit would be $35.26.
So he paid $10, and you could make $35 profit.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
That's
and
nice.
It's got a nice rank. It's got a good rank.
What kind of rank was it?
This rank is 22,000 right now, which is
excellent, right?
Yeah. So.
Hey, that pays for almost pays for your monthly fee for your service.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So that's how that works. It's really easy, and I just would recommend anybody who's thinking about it to jump in.
Jump in the pool. Or they say put your big boy pants or your big girl pants on and jump in, right?
Yeah. And as I said, I don't do YouTube. I don't do videos or anything like that. But I'm always happy to message back and forth with anybody.
They can direct message you through your Instagram, which I have linked in the description below.
Through Instagram, yeah. Yeah, my Instagram is not book related, but you could do that, or look me up on Facebook. Okay. Maggie Donapel, Donapel.
Okay, guys. I'm no hurry. I'm not trying to chase you out, but we try to keep it around an hour. Were there any other questions that we may have missed in the chat, guys? Michelle, did we miss any questions? I tried to catch it, and Maggie, she was obviously talking, so wasn't really monitoring the chat. So did we miss any questions? Are there any additional questions you guys have about book sellings while we have Maggie on? She's willing to share her time and her knowledge with us. Is there any other questions you guys may have? Why don't you put in? There's a little bit of delay. There's like 20-second delay. So just give it a second for it to filter any questions.
Yeah, it looks like Craig asked a question about the ability to share your profit. And I hope I showed that does have that ability.
Right. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on my note. Yeah, I had talked about how I had problems when I was trying to do retail arbitrage scanning with the Amazon Sellers app. So again, I mean, I would definitely probably get one of their services, and I would, like I said, for $40-some, if that is compatible, I would definitely get that, because, like I said, you go to the bins or you go to a library sale, it's just like, beep, 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 or vibrate. So I have so many vibrate alerts on my cell phone, it would drive me nuts. So I probably would have to use the beep. I guess you could probably use like an earpiece, right? Like your headphones.
Yeah.
Probably hear it beep that way. It wouldn't annoy anybody.
Yeah. I don't like to do. People are crazy if you're just.
Reselling Addicts had a question about selling by the piece.
Yeah, I didn't see them. If she could ask that question
Could
again.
you ask that question again, Reselling Addicts, please?
Sometimes if you're scanning books, there are people who will come up and
We
they'll say,
talked
"What
about
are you
scanning.
doing?"
That was one of your questions.
So I don't like to make any noise.
A Scout League was what, like $40-some a month, and you said you pay extra because your husband has it too.
It's $50 a month for the both of us. I'm not sure exactly
Okay,
what.
so it's probably like $40 ish.
Probably, yeah.
Reselling Addicts again. I don't know your first name. Did you want to ask that question? Because we didn't. Michelle said you had a question about pricing.
Jen, yeah, I didn't see what she said.
Well, I know it's 99. Like you saed earlier, it's 99 cents if you don't have a professional account. It's 99 cents per item additional over and above the Amazon fees. I don't know if that was her question or not.
Yeah, I don't see a question about that.
Buying space as well. Pals pays shipping.
Oh, I see.
You see it?
We talked about that. I will find that link and send it to Jenny. I just was looking at it the other day.
Yeah, Michelle, we did catch that earlier. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Again, we'll wrap things up. Did you want to touch on your Poshmark at all? I mean, while you're here, I appreciate you being here. Want you again, Maggie's Poshmark closets, or there's a link down below from her Instagram page or Linktree. So again, if you guys buy on Poshmark, her links are below in the description. Her Instagram is listed. I'm sorry.
I do clothes. Yeah, I love clothes. I love. I'm like
You're a fashionista. What was the name of your Instagram again?
My Instagram is Thrift Shop Fashionista, which
Thrift
is
Shop Fashionista. There you go.
Adam asked me, do I want to put my social media links? And I'm like, my really big one is that. And it's really just me showing you what I wear from the thrift shop. It's not really of much interest to anybody here. But I do use.
So your links to your stores are in there. So if anybody's interested, if you want to.
Yeah, I've had people.
Great lady, and more than willing to share her time and her expertise with us. So, you guys are shopping Poshmark, check out her stores.
Yeah, I have people follow me on Instagram and then go
on Instagram as well. Exactly.
Shop. So it's kind of more related to that side of my business. So
gotcha.
Yeah. But thanks for everybody for coming in. It was awesome.
Well, thank you. I learned quite a bit. Again, I tell people all the time, go back and watch the replay, guys, because I mean, there's a lot of information, and I'm trying to concentrate on the conversation and checking the chat. I miss a lot of things. I'll go back and replay, and again, I want to do a better job, with YouTube. But I pick up a lot of things after I watch the replay. So if you guys came in late or whatever, you can watch the beginning. You can always do it when you're listening. Just you don't have to watch the screen. Just have the volume on and have the video playing and just listen to it. So appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate Maggie for joining us. I'll give you the typical YouTube. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And guys, if you have any of you have once you commented below in the comments, let me know what software you guys are using. If you use the Scoutly, if you use the Scout IQ, and also if you want to share what scanner you use, the Bluetooth scanner. And the Maggie, again, I think that would be good to speed you up a little bit. Get one of those USB scanners. Would probably speed up your workflow.
I think so too.
I think you must have the $40 Amazon account to be able to scale up Scout IQ. Okay, I guess that's a possibility, Barry.
Okay, that may be.
That probably makes sense. Okay, thanks for sharing that, Barry. I wasn't aware of that, but thank you. So you have to have the professional account to use the Scout IQ. That makes sense.
Yeah, you'd have to sign in with that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. Again, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time. Again, typically every Wednesday at 3 p.m. Eastern, I have a reseller on, and we'll see you then, guys. Maggie, if you just want to hang around for a minute after the show.
Sure.
All right, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for joining us, everybody.